Hey everybody, back again today with another card, and this one's going to be a little bit more humorous than most of what I do, because it is Deadpool after all. So what I decided to do is I'm going to put Yoda here in the foreground, and we're going to have a little fun with Deadpool today. Because of the fact that he's going to be ticking off Yoda. So, it being Sunday afternoon, for everybody that wants to come on and check this out, I appreciate it. Hey Matt, you made it, man. I didn't know if you were going to get in on this one or not, man. So, we have a very grumpy and upset and distraught Yoda. So, you can't really see him yet, but let me tip the light so you can see a little more. He's going to be a little disgruntled because in this card, Deadpool has impersonated Chewbacca and ticked him off. So, it's going to be a little interesting to see how this plays out. Because for me, this is a little bit more than I'm used to for this type of format. But we're going to play it out and see how it goes. So, a lot of people don't know this, but Yoda doesn't really have a lot of wrinkles up here. He's really actually got ridges on his head. So, to bring him to life in proper form is a little more intensive than most people think. That's why a lot of people don't like to draw him, because all this ridge goes down here. And if you ever saw the 1980s and 90s movies of the Gremlins, since Frank Oz had a lot to do with those designs, I believe the Frank Oz Entertainment had to do with the his puppet factory had to do with a lot of the Gremlins designs. You'll notice that a lot of those characters had the same similar forms as Yoda. So if he starts to go a little Gremlin-esque on us, yeah, we'll try to clean that up as I go along. But he was made by the same team in design, so he's going to look a little bit that way. But we will keep him true as Yoda can be for this event. Which these cards are becoming events, because I'm getting a lot more feedback on them, and I really appreciate you guys coming on and checking it out. So, like I said originally, as long as we keep getting people on and keep getting, feedback on it and whatnot, and everybody's happy with them, I'll keep doing them. Doing the stubby little Yoda knuckles. I'm going to do his classic stump handle cane here. So, putting that notch and groove there, and putting that thumbnail and his thumb. There we go. With my style being a little more animated and open and not necessarily color dependent, but color cooperative, as I like to call it, with it being open, it's not going to be as refined or photorealistic as most people like to draw him, but it is what it is. We'll just keep running with it and knock it out as we get going here. Put the underside of this sleeve here. I'm going to draw a little bit of his arm there. Put the top of the sleeve here like this, and then I'm going to shade this in. So bear with me here. I don't want to tear up the card. These things are sensitive around the edges. So we have Yoda. I'm going to put in his trademark huge pupils and eyeballs. Make him look all grumpy at Deadpool. Put in his pursed little lip here that he always has with the little wrinkles on it. And try not to make it look like a mustache. So we won't do any more to that because I don't want to mess it up and overwork it. I'm drawing his other hand here. And surprisingly, his hands were always bigger than his proportions for his body. They were massive in comparison to what he should have had. But, again, that's my style take on it. So, drawing some details for these knuckles. Okay, that'll make that pop. Drawing this belt here for Chewbacca. Got to put in the ornaments and whatnot. Draw the hair out over here. Leave it kind of loose because he's not refined by individual hairs, and I don't want to make it, I want it to look like a costume once Deadpool shows through it, rather than looking, you know, authentic to being Chewbacca. I want it to be a little cartoony. So, I'm going to put on a little ridge of hair right there to show off that knobby elbow. Some of this shoulder hair in here, which I'll slick down as I ink it. Want it to have a little bit of a natural wispy look. Now the reason I'm doing the knobby knuckles here on Deadpool is because of the fact that his modern costume has pads on it, where he has palm pads on his knuckles. As he's walking away, I'm kind of having Deadpool say, you know, asking him, come on, for a second, you bought it," kind of thing. You know, you got to admit, I got you for a second. And that's typical Deadpool Joker style. So drawing a little more of the refining parts of Deadpool there. So as this comes along here, I'm going to draw in the Chewbacca mask now. And again, I want this to look sort of like a mask. I don't want it to look as realistic as it could, because he's playing a prank here. And I also don't want to make Chewbacca look like a Saint Bernard or something. You ever noticed how the Wookiees have these little bitty teeth, but these big old heads? Chewbacca always has this little mustache looking thing going on where it's just a little bit darker than the rest of his face, and it defines a lot of the contours that are covered in hair with the look of actual facial features. Pretty cool. So we want him to still look like Chewbacca, but still look like a mask enough to where Deadpool could hang out with it and, you know, have a good time. So, and like I said, I'll refine a lot more of this whenever I get in there and ink it. I just don't want to go gob it up with a bunch of lead marks right now on this one, so I'm going to keep it clean and try not to overdo it. Put a little twist out here where maybe Deadpool grabbed it up here at the top to pull it off, kind of thing. I'm going to put his arm out here with a little bit of the Wookiee hair hanging down like that. And I'll have some hanging off this forearm like this, so we can mark that out and separate the two there. Put in a couple of lines, trying not to overwork it. make it too gobbed up with hair. You know, I want it to stay free flowing, like I said. So got the kind of surprised look, like what? So we can go that route. Have the marker right here. Normally I would do a little bit of a nose ridge right here, but I don't want to do that because he's supposed to be laughing under the mask, so we want to leave that wide open, like he's stretching the mask out to laugh. Because as we all know, Deadpool is a unique character, let's put it that way, when it comes to personality. And I'm going to color this in gray, so I'm not going to color in all the gloves and all that, because I want to color it and keep it open to where you guys can see the detail. So I even had at one point, I had a Yoda holding a lightsaber and walking off mad, like he was tempted to lose his cool. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on there because I think that's pretty neat. But I had him flaring up a lightsaber over here in the corner. But anyway, there we have it. I know this one's a little more cartoony and sketchy than I normally do, but it being so small with the detail that we have on it, I wanted to leave it open where you guys could have that stuff going on. What I think I'm going to do is, since we have a little more time, I'm going to go in for some background stuff and put in a couple of the swampy trees and things like that. And kind of go from there. Maybe put in a couple of the swooping vines or whatever. And granted, like I said, I'm not going to make this look realistic. I'm going to keep it very, very cartoony and very light, because I don't want to take it too serious and insult the humor of the picture. Get in that mossy stuff here in the corner. Everybody that's seen Star Wars knows the mossy leaves and stuff like that that hang down from the trees and whatnot. And I always find that fascinating because of the different dynamic of what they did with that backdrop, being the swampy trees and the greens and the blues and whatnot, and then they came in with the color of Yoda and R2-D2 and contrasted with the white and the undertones of Luke's skin and whatnot, and it was like a rising force in the dark. So, if you'll pardon the pun, but that's what it was supposed to imply, is he was hope in the darkness. And if you ever do any studies on Star Wars or anything like that, that character base contrast, Deadpool night and day. That's part of why I did this, is because of the fact that he is so nonchalant and non-serious and just so loose and fly by the seat of the pants, and then the Star Wars opera is so intense with all of the political and social undertones to it, with the black and white difference, the the good and the evil contrast, the social gambit that runs through it, with the Empire taking charge, opposing tyranny and all that fun stuff that goes through there. I say fun stuff, but I mean, drama that goes through there, and just, it pops with metaphors if you stop and think about it, and Lucas actually wrote it that way. So I find that just hugely important, because a lot of films don't do that anymore, and comics don't either, and they used to. So next time you think about that, next time you're watching Star Wars, think about the political tones that you see running through it, because it'll wake you up. It'll give you a shock, and you'll be like, wow, that's way cooler than I originally thought. But anyway, I'm rambling on now as we get through this, so I hope you guys dig it. And like I said, I kept it very sketchy this time because I didn't want to overwork this thing. It's a fun little deal that I just wanted to throw together for you guys. I know everybody's been waiting for the Deadpool stuff, and I didn't want to do something very hardcore action-oriented because that's what Deadpool's known for. But I wanted to do something a little lighter today with it being the weekend and all, and give everybody a little different aspect of what my comic style is, and a little bit different view on a fuller card scope. But with it being in this medium, it being so small, doing a card this intense is a little harsh, but it's fun. So anyway, I'm going to detail Yoda out here to add a little contrast and a little solid color and black in here, just to help pop this off just a little bit. And not wanting to draw too much on his cane here, but contrasting his robe so it'll pop off there. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope you got to see, you know, some of this that you like, and that you'll keep hanging out with me as I keep knocking these cards out and keep going. And that you'll pay attention for some stuff I've got coming up this week. Not pitching any sales or anything, just letting you guys know some new stuff's coming out. My YouTube channel, my Facebook pages, and stuff like that are going to start popping off here pretty quick. And I'm going to start doing a lot more stuff. Tomorrow's card is going to be Mary Jane from Spider-Man. We're going to take a crack at her and see what we can do. And hopefully we'll be able to get something coming out of that will interest you guys. So take care till tomorrow. We will get this inked up and colored and posted soon. Thanks for hanging out with me, and catch you next time.